Well, once again, good morning. I'm glad to have you with us. Thankful to see you today. We're starting a new segment in our study of the life of Jesus. And we're going to be looking at more healings. And go to Matthew chapter 9 for that. Matthew 9. And so we're going to be looking at some things there. And as we get into the 10th chapter, we'll see the message about the mission of the 12. But first, let's think about the healings that we're going to be looking at. And that's from Matthew 9. We're going to start in verse 27. Let's read through verse 34 and see what we can glean in these lessons. And as Jesus passed by from thence, two blind men followed him, crying out, and saying, Have mercy on us, thou Son of David. And when he has come into the house, the blind men came to him, and Jesus said unto them, Believe ye that I am able to do this? And they said to him, Yea, Lord. Then touched he their eyes, saying, According to your faith be it done unto you. And their eyes were opened, and Jesus strictly charged them, saying, See that no man know it. But they went forth and spread abroad his fame in all the land. And as they went forth, behold, there was brought to him a dumb man possessed with a devil. And when the devil was cast out, the dumb man spake, and the multitudes marveled, saying, It was never so seen in Israel. But the Pharisees said, By the prince of the devils casteth he out devils. So let's look at these healings that took place. We start with this question. What did Jesus ask the two men when they asked him to return when he asked him to return their sight? What did he ask them? Do you believe? Do you believe I can do this? So here we see Jesus, and I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but let me go back and review a little bit. I forget to do things sometimes. Last couple of weeks, we were talking about Jairus' daughter that needed healing, and he was a ruler of the Jews. I want us to kind of remember that he had that need, and Jesus said he would go do that. And on his way, there was this big crowd of people, and they were kind of thronging. That's the Bible word. They were thronging him and all. And this woman who had a blood disease of some sort touches his garment. And when she touched his garment, she got better. And then Jesus said, Who touched me? And the apostles were like, or the crowd of people, they were like, everyone's touching you. Everyone's around you. We're all kind of bumping into each other. What do you mean, who touched you? And then the woman knew that Jesus had felt that power leave him. She said, Well, Lord, it was I. And then Jesus tells her she can go on her way. Well, as they continue on, they said, Well, there's no point to go now. The girl has died, and it's just no point to going. But Jesus pushed on anyway, and he got there. And he said, She's asleep. And they kind of laughed at him. He took Peter, James, and John, and the parents went in, and anyone else that was in, he got them out. And he told her to get up, and she got up, and walked, and lived again. And so we see this great power that Jesus has. And so what we're studying right now is a continuation of that thought, that Jesus is still going. There's still this crowd of people that's with him. And along the way, there's two blind men that show up. Now, I guess in this crowd of people, there was someone there that was helping them along. I would have to think so. If they are not able to see, they've got to have someone to help them along the way. And so, as Carrie just told us, as they asked Jesus to give them sight, he asked them, Do you believe? Okay, and they said, Well, of course we do. So what did Jesus tell them to do afterwards? After he gave them their sight? Told them not to tell anybody. All right, so in this case, I noticed it said he touched their eyes, but he touched their eyes, got their sight, and he said, don't go tell anybody what I'd done. But what did they do? They went and told everybody, didn't they? They just couldn't help it. They had to go tell everybody. And so that's the thing that we've been talking about for several lessons now. Almost every lesson, we've come across that situation where he's healed somebody, and we've talked about how he tells them not to tell. He's saying to them that don't tell for the reason that it's not his time to go yet. This is just going to get the scribes and the Pharisees and all these people that are upset with him, these rulers, so much the more that, I mean, they're ready to take his life now, and we're still early in his ministry. And Jesus has much more he needs to accomplish. He does have a mission in his mind that he is to do before his time to leave this earth. And so he don't want those things to happen. And same thing with Jairus' daughter. Don't tell anybody. Well, and someone made the comment last week, I mean, well, everybody knew she was dead. Now they see her alive. They got to know. These men were blind. Now they can see. They got to know. So there is going to be that people they just can't help it but to tell. And as they do this, there will be people that will know. And this is going to keep the Pharisees kind of fired up, so to speak, along the way. And that's what we happened here. So let's look at it right here. Look, this is what happened because of it. How did the multitudes react to the healing of the dumb man? Now, here's a man that can't speak, and so Jesus heals him. And so how did the multitude react to this healing of getting this demon out of this man? They were amazed. You know, they were still amazed at this. Seeing it over and over and over again, they were still amazed. Here's another man got demons in him, and they come out, and now he's able to speak because of it. But then how did the Pharisees react to it? You got this from Beelzebub, didn't you? And so again, this has been that whole theme of things that have been going on for some time that Jesus even explained to him a couple of lessons ago. You know, why would the devil hurt himself? You know, the things you're saying does not make sense. It doesn't work that way. But you know how some people are? You know, I don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to think of, I'm wearing black pants today. No, they're red. Someone says, no, these are black. No, they're red. Okay, they're red. I mean, you know, some people are just, I know it's kind of a ridiculous example, but sometimes it's about that ridiculous. With some people, they got something in their head. You can lay down 100% solid proof, and they're still just going to shake their head. No, it's what I believe. It's what I think. And that's how we do sometimes. And that's why the Pharisees had their blinders on, and they could not see it any other way.
I don't know that it's completely that they had their blinders on, because if they admitted that this guy's power is coming from God, then they would have to fall in line with Jesus' teaching, and they wouldn't have control of the people.
Right.
So to keep control of the people, they had to say, well, this isn't from God. This is from the chief of the demons himself. He's getting this from evil power, not from God.
Yes.
That way they could attempt to stay in control.
Yes, it's about the control, you know. And I think they did believe, though, that when the Messiah comes, he was going to come from among them.
Right.
You know, and Jesus wasn't from among them. But, Mike, you're right on with that it was about control. They wanted control. We are your religious leaders. Don't follow this guy. He's from the devil. We are your leaders.
So the blinders, they were actually trying to put the blinders on the people.
Yes. You know, can't you see that? Can't you see he's healing these people by the power of the devil? Well, it's kind of like the guy in John 9. Well, I don't know where the source is, but all I know is I can see now, and I'm grateful for it. I'm thankful for it. You'd be that way too, I think, wouldn't you? I know I would be. If I'd been lame and I could get up and walk, you know, I was possessed with something that kept me from speaking, and now I can speak, or I got my eyesight back. It's wonderful. Any other thoughts here? Okay, let's move on just a little bit then. Verse 35. And it says that Jesus went about all the cities and villages, teaching in their synagogues and preaching the gospel of the kingdom and healing all manner of diseases and all manner of sicknesses. But when he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion for them, because they were distressed and scattered as sheep not having a shepherd. Then saith he unto his disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Pray ye therefore the Lord of harvest, that thou send forth laborers into the harvest. So after this healing, we see that Jesus continued preaching, teaching, and healing. His healing would have done no good for the kingdom if he didn't open his mouth and preach and teach what God wanted him to say while he was here on this earth. So he was preaching about the kingdom that was to come, the kingdom of heaven, the gospel of the kingdom, good news. And so he went into their synagogues. He was able to do that. He'd gone to cities. He'd gone to villages. He'd been a lot of places. And so this is sort of a general, through the days, this is what Jesus continued to do, and able to heal all of these people along the way. But then, on this occasion, why did Jesus have compassion for the multitude?
They said they were weary and they seemed scattered. So
They were wearied and scattered.
they needed a shepherd, and he was the good shepherd.
Okay. They were wearied and scattered, and they needed a shepherd, didn't they? They were sheep without a shepherd. And we have talked about the sheep before. Oh, there he is. There's Bill back there. I think we've talked about it a little bit, or someone in here has talked about sheep aren't very bright animals. You know, they're not very smart. And I guess that may be kind of, you know, not in an insulting way, but Jesus, like, bless their hearts. There's a lot of people out here in this multitude that they're wanting to get to that right spot. They're wanting to get to that right place, but they don't know how. They even though they've heard him speak some or whatever it is, it just has not connected with them yet. Remember Chad Lovelace would talk about this, about having that aha moment. They hadn't had that aha moment yet, where I get it. And you know, he had compassion for them because of this. They need some more leadership. And I think Jesus is kind of the same way it was with Moses. He's there to do all this, but he's just one person here on this earth. And you get multitudes, you can't physically get around to serving everyone. I guess he could have done like waved his hand, just healed everyone. I know he had that power in him, but that, again, was not the purpose of his healings. Let's look at this one thing, we'll let you talk. So, he talks about the harvest and the laborers. What is the ratio of harvest and laborers? Back then, I asked today, but let's look at it. He said the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few, didn't he? What about today? Probably worse, okay. Other thoughts? Okay. Mark, I guess they agree with you. and I tend to also. I think that's it. We still are few in number. When you think about the Lord's church, what the population, I saw something the other day. We've either just hit 8 billion or about to. I forgot what it is. I think we just hit 8 billion world population. So think about the number of true Christians, brothers and sisters in Christ, and we got 8 billion. It's a very few, it's very few to great, great work that needs to be done out there in this world. We have it carved out for us. And so we as laborers have got to labor. It's got to be some work to it. Work is not easy. If you've actually gone out and worked in the farm fields, it's a lot easier now with the John Deere and all that, but it's still some work to it even with that. You got a lot of labor that's going to working in the heat of the sun and the cold air that we have during the winter, and different weather elements, and just the length of days. And it should be that way in the Lord's church as we labor. We got to persevere through whatever is out there. Your thoughts here before we move on to the next thing.
Well, Doug,
Yeah.
one thing I was just thinking, I don't know if we're going to it, but Jesus always, he used things that people were, familiar with. In this case, he had a visual for them. So the disciples, he talked to the disciples, he said, look at all these people, so that they could kind of understand their ministry, that they would have to continue on. He said, the laborers are few, so how are we going to solve this problem, kind of thing, so they can kind of get their minds thinking, well, how do we solve that? There's only a few of us disciples, so we got to make more disciples.
Right. You got to grow. We got to fill it out. I didn't, this, again, I've studied through the gospel so many times, but this didn't click on me till this time through. That what we've just been talking about here the last few minutes is just an introduction to what we're about to talk about. Jesus was getting them ready for something right here. Let's look and see what it is. Let's go to Matthew 10, and we're just going to look at verses 1 through 4 to start. It says that, and he called unto his 12 disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits to cast them out and to heal all manner of disease and all manner of sickness. Now the names of the 12 apostles are these. The first, Simon, who is called Peter, Andrew his brother, James the son of Zebedee, John his brother, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the publican, James the son of Alphaeus, Thaddeus and Simon the Canaanian, and Judas Iscariot, who also betrayed him. So let's stop right there. We see this also in Mark 6:7 and Luke 9:1. And so Jesus says the harvest is plenteous and the laborers are few. You guys are the few. I want y'all to go out and do some stuff. Now we're going to get to the stuff here in a minute. But what power did Jesus give to the 12 apostles? Okay.
Casting them out in sickness and disease.
These men have stood there and watched as Jesus had healed, had cast out demons, give the blind sight, made the deaf hear, lame people get up and walk, dead people get up and live again. They stood there and have observed that. They were a part of these multitudes that have been following him around everywhere. They've been watching him for some time now. Now Jesus says, you now have the power to call out these spirits, and you're going to have the power to heal people just like I've been doing. And if Doug had been one of the 12 apostles, I'd been going like, whoa. Really? Me? No, it's not the me with the power. What kind of power is in them? Power of God. The Holy Spirit, isn't it? Power of God is going to be in them to do these things. And so that's what he tells them there, that they're going to have this ability. And then we see the 12 that are named. And I'm not going to, we had a lesson about that earlier, so I chose not to go through who all these men are at this time. That's something we have done previously. All right, so with the time we have left this morning, as much as we can, let's look at what they were told to do. All right, starting in verse 5. These 12 Jesus sent forth and charged them, saying, Go not into any way of the Gentiles, and enter not into any city of the Samaritans, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And as you go, preach, saying, The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, cast out devils. Freely ye receive, freely give. Get you no gold, nor silver, nor brass in your purses, no wallet on your journey, neither two coats, nor shoes, nor staff, for the laborer is worthy of his food. All right, so a lot of things here. So let's take these things one by one, the things that he told them. First of all, these things are also found in Mark chapter 6 and Luke chapter 9. First thing he said, do not go to the Gentiles and the Samaritans. Because they were to go where? All right, the lost sheep. You know, he just said that he had compassion for these people because they were like sheep without a shepherd. They were lost sheep. He said, I want you to go to the lost sheep of Israel. Now, did Jesus care about the Gentiles and the Samaritan people? Sure. Yes, he did.
He will later take care of that.
Yes. There's first things first, isn't it?
Well, it's prophesied that the Savior would come to the Jews first.
Yes. It was part of prophecy. And so with that prophecy, as James and I just said, first things first, we got to, before we can get out to the Gentiles and the Samaritans, we've got to take care of our own business right here first. We've got to get the Jews in line to get them to understand these prophecies, get them to understand what all these things that Isaiah and Jeremiah and the others were talking about in days of old, that Jesus is the Messiah. And we've got to have that preached to people. We've got to get them to understand that. We've got to get followers of our own first before we can move on out to beyond. All right, so something to think about there. All right, so here's what they were to do. They were to preach something. The kingdom of heaven is what? At hand. It's nearby. It's soon. It's coming soon. Kingdom of heaven, the church, is something that's going to be taking place soon. And so they were to bring that message to people. Now, why they are doing this, you see anybody sick, what are they supposed to do? You can heal them. Heal the sick people. Someone has leprosy, what were they supposed to do? Make them clean, right? Heal that leprosy. I don't know if they would do this in every occasion, but they would have the ability to raise the dead when you saw that situation. What if someone was demon possessed? Cast them out. Now, it's going to be, I think, way on down the road somewhere, but we're going to see a situation where they come back to Jesus and said, there's this fellow demon possessed, we couldn't get him out, you know. But that's for another day. We'll leave that alone. But that's what they were told to do. They were to cast out the demons. What about this one? It said, freely give.
That's what he's talking about, what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It was given unto them, and so they're to do that freely to the people, those people they see in need. When you talk about raising the dead, I would assume it was people that had just died.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I don't think they went to the tombs and like that. But someone had just died the hour before or something like that. That's basically what Jesus had done. It had been just within hours since the person had died at that point, as far as the scriptures tell us. Okay. And you know, I want to kind of look at this one and back up one too. Do not take any money or wallet. Don't take any money with you. And so when you go back to freely give, I don't believe he's talking about money, do you? Because they're not going to have any money on them, but give of yourself. Be available to give to people. Be doing things for others.
Well, he says you freely you have
Yes.
He's empowered them to heal the sick and cleanse the lepers and on, and he's got the whole list there. Don't hold back on somebody.
Okay, exactly.
Don't make a judgment that they're worthy or not worthy of being healed. Heal them.
Okay. Yeah, that's freely, you know, it said they have freely received. They got this power. And just be doing this stuff. No, oh, I don't like this person's looks. I'm not going to help him. You know, you know, and that kind of goes back to some things we've talked about in past classes about being partial. Don't show partiality to anybody. Just give to people, help people. Be compassionate as Jesus was compassionate to everybody. Do these things freely. And you know, I got to say, if I'm going on a trip, I got to take a little money with me. You know, I want to be sure. But Jesus told him not, and we're going to see more as we go on down the list more about that. So let's just kind of set that aside. Take only one coat. You know, it's going to be some cold evenings. You wear the coat, but you don't need two coats. Just take the one coat that you're going to need to go a long way. He wanted them to travel light. Take only one pair of shoes. And you don't need an extra staff. They would often use that kind of like, you know, to help them in the rough places to go, to kind of steady them and all that. You just need one. You don't have to take other stuff along the way with you. So he says that the laborer is worthy of his food or worthy of his hire. And so let me just look at all these things that we just talked about. Why these instructions? Why did Jesus give these particular instructions to these men as they went out?
I don't think he wanted them to take all this stuff because the people would be looking for help that way. And that wasn't the way that Jesus was trying to help these people. So rather the people were to give from themselves for what they're doing. So I don't think that Jesus didn't want them, because if they found out they had money, they'd be asking for money.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to ask you. I thought that's what you were saying, and I agree with that. But I want to be sure that's what you're saying, that there would be the needy people that would ask for the extra coat, that would ask for the extra staff or the money to help them through. But it would be like Peter and John after, well, I guess it was still the day of Pentecost there in Acts 3, where they come to the lame man, silver and gold have we none, but what we want to do is you can get up and walk. And this sort of the same thing could be the situation. That those very words might have been said by Peter and John or any of these others along the way. They see someone in one of the towns or cities. They're sitting there in a prominent place begging for money, begging for help. Well, so you're lame? Yes, I can't walk. I said, well, we can't give you any money, but what we can do by the power of Jesus Christ, you can get up and walk. And, you know, they'd get up and they'd walk. And that's a lot better gift. You'd rather have that than the money, wouldn't you? So that's what they were able to do, right? Very, very good thought there.
And they also, as we read over in the book of Acts, they went everywhere confirming the word through the miracles and signs.
Confirming the word through the miracles, exactly what Jesus did.
They are really able to say to these people, we are from God. We can do the things that can't be done with money and with the coat.
Yes. Don't you know that just drove these Pharisees crazy? Now he's got these men out there doing this stuff.
They had no money with them, and like you said, they couldn't give it to help someone, and then the Pharisees couldn't accuse them of bribing people.
Okay. That's a thought. They're not bribing them. They're just doing good deeds.
I think too, Jesus said, worker is worthy of his hire. These people need to understand that it's not a one-sided thing. You're not going to get something. You need to give back too. So,
Yes.
so he said, don't feel bad to ask these people for food and stuff like that.
Yes, exactly. Let's talk about that a little more right there. That's a good thought, because he did say earlier that the harvest is plenty and the laborers are few. Now he's talking about the laborer is worthy of this version I have here, of his food. So obviously when they're going to be gone, they're going to be gone for some time. They need to eat, don't they? So what are you going to do about food? What are they going to do about the food? At the people. There will be people that will feed them. They'll see that you're laboring. They'll see that you're working. There will be people that will bring you into their homes. They will feed you. Because you see, people receive Jesus different ways, don't they? There are going to be people that's going to reject them. We haven't got to the verse yet. It'll be next week, I guess, but about dusting the dust off your feet and all that. But there's going to be people that are going to listen to them, and they're going to receive it, and they're going to say, well, you know, Jesus, we've heard about this Jesus, yeah, we're all in. You guys must be hungry. Come on over. We'll give you something to eat. And so that's very definitely, I think, what he's talking about here. The laborer is worthy of his hire. They're working, and they will be taken care of.
When I was in Vietnam, one of the most interesting things was when we worked with the South Vietnamese people, or troops, when mealtime come, they deserted us, and we didn't know what was going on, and we found out they were going into the villages and going to get their food from the people, and so they sort of carried this custom meal through us. They didn't feel bad to go in and ask the people to feed them.
Feed them. You're talking about the Vietnam.
Carry a lot of food around and stuff with them.
You're talking about the soldiers from South Vietnam?
Yes.
Okay. So James was saying that soldiers from South Vietnam, when it came mealtime, when they were working together, they'd go back to the villages and be fed that way. And then they'd ask of the villagers to feed them. All right? Got another couple of minutes. Not really a good place to move forward, so we'll take it up from here next week. But any other comments? So we got another minute or two. Nothing there. Yes, Carrie.
It did make me think about one thing about the money. When we go back to the lady with the blood issue,
Yes.
she made mention at that time that she'd spent much money and seen many doctors,
Oh.
but she couldn't get healed. But so her faith and touching that and being instantly healed and knowing that she was healed was really a big thing. Money couldn't buy it. All the knowledge of the doctors of the day couldn't solve it, but Jesus could.
Yeah, people are like that today too, aren't they? Sometimes an illness comes up, and I'm going to beat this one, and that doctor can't hit me. I'm going to go to this doctor. I'm going to go to this doctor, and they spend a fortune. Even after insurance, there's still a fortune to be paid with the copays and all the others that's involved in it. And so the woman, he was talking about the woman with the blood issue. She had spent a lot of money. It did her no good, but what did her good was Jesus, who just simply healed her. Very, very, very good. Well, good class. We will pick it up there because there's more to this story. And I'm sorry we couldn't get it all in today, but we will pick it up next week. And keep me in your prayers. I'm about to leave you again. You know, Teresa's brother Michael over at Waycross is a preacher over there, and he's not able to preach with his injuries, and so I'm filling in for him. They don't have services till 11, so I got plenty of time to get there, but I'm going to be heading that way in just a few minutes. So miss y'all. I've been out preaching other places, but I miss being here while I do that. I want you to know that. Love everybody here. Have a great day. If you're watching online, be back in 10 minutes, and we'll have our worship service.